What is going on, traders? We have a lot to discuss. Before we get into that, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Really appreciate the support. Let's get into the video. So in my last video, I gave you guys two scenarios. I gave you guys a bullish scenario and I gave you a bearish scenario. And I was kind of hoping for the bullish scenario. I think I made that clear that I was hoping for some type of retest. I think everyone was hoping for some type of retest where we retest this trend up here at around 514, 510 being the lowest, and then we break down. And I was looking to enter some puts up here and close out my current position on the SPY, which is calls. By the way, I did roll that position over into tomorrow, so we'll see what happens there. But I was hoping for this move, and then I was going to go pretty heavy on puts. At least that was the plan. But it looks like scenario two is trying to play out. Okay, keyword is trying. Right now, we're at the bottom of this daily supply and demand zone, and we have failed to break and hold below it. Now, we did break it, but we failed to hold below it, which is around 499. Okay, so this is a good sign for a potential retest to the upside. However, like I said in the Discord, I would like to see a break back above 504, maybe 504.6, before I'm really comfortable on a potential retest. And if we do get that retest tomorrow, then that would be great. I would definitely still be having the same plan for more downside. If you don't know or you're new to the channel, my price target still remains the same. What is going on? My price target still remains the same, that I expect the SPY to head towards 495. 490 is my lowest target so far. If we head to 490 or whatever, even lower than that, then we'll talk about it when we get there or if we get there. But as of now, that is my lowest target. So if we look at unusual wells, as you guys can see, I told you guys in the last video that the lowest contracts we were looking heading into today was about 500 puts. But now you see there's more puts on the table. We got 500 puts, 520 puts, 501 puts, and down here, if we go lower, we see 495 and 492 puts, which makes sense because my price target is 495, right? So be cautious heading into tomorrow. I would look at tomorrow as more so of a day trading type of day or even a scalping type of day. Now, we could just consolidate tomorrow. We probably see the same thing we saw yesterday, which is Tuesday, where Monday we had that huge drop and then Tuesday consolidates and then Friday we start seeing some big moves. That is on the table as well. So again, until we break back above 504, I'm not too confident on more upside or potential upside or even a retest. We could just continue to drop from here. But it's safe to say that as long as we're in this supply and demand zone, this daily supply and demand zone, which is a strong supply and demand zone, we're pretty safe here. Okay. Now it is important to note that we do have news tomorrow. We have unemployment claims at 8:30 Eastern, and then we have TSM earnings. So those things can motivate the next move for the market, whether it's to the upside or the downside. But as you guys know, I'm pretty bearish short term. I'm not a perma bear or anything. I just go with what the market and my strategy gives me. And right now, my strategy is telling me that 495 is the next move for the SPY. All right. So be on the lookout for this potential retest. That would be really great. I would go really heavy on puts if this does happen. But if not, then oh well, missed out. All right. Triple Qs. So triple Qs is pretty interesting here. Okay. So let's actually look at the daily time frame. I think you guys are going to like how this looks if you are somewhat bullish. Okay. So if you're bullish, this looks really good. Okay, if you're bullish, this does look good. So as you guys can see, everything's connected. I don't make this stuff up. But as you guys can see, we're at the bottom of this range or at the bottom of this pattern here. And we're also inside of a daily supply and demand zone. Now, as you guys know, my price target still remains the same on the triple Qs at 422. Okay, and we hit 425 today, which was another key level. So that is important. Okay, but as far as a retest to the upside, this could support that. All right, we have yet to retest this level here at around 436, and I was talking about this in the last video where we have yet to retest this. So in order for me to be looking towards a retest, I would like to see triple Qs break back above 429. Okay. If you want to say 430 because that's a psych level, by all means, go by that. That's a much safer option. But again, 429, you want to see a break above or back out of the supply and demand zone before you look at a potential retest all the way to 436. Highest we possibly can go is about 440. So be on the lookout for that. However, as far as downside goes, we break below 423.5. I think we're going to head much lower. Now, as far as the 422 price target, I think we can go much lower, guys. I'm not going to lie to you, okay? I do have another price target, and I don't want to talk about it or get deep into it until we get there, but I do have a price target of 407. Again, we're not going to talk about it until we at least get to the 422 target if we get there. So we're going to leave that on the table. All right, we're going to leave that on the table. Again, I would love for us to retest the upside. I really do. Okay, so I'm not a perma bear. I would absolutely love for us to retest the upside. That way I can get some entries in and then we drop. That would be great. If it doesn't happen and we don't retest and we just continue to drop from here all the way to 422, then I will be sad, but it is what it is. Institutions know what they're doing. They know how to play the market very well. So they probably knew that everybody was expecting some type of retest, and yeah, we fell for it. So another thing I want to point out as far as institutions and how they trade, right? This makes sense. This drop makes sense, right? Despite all the Fed Pal news and um, what else? Fed Pal, Iran and Israel fighting and things like that. Why would institutions want to buy into tech stocks when they're at all-time highs into their earnings, right? If I'm an institution, I would want things to be much cheaper prior to their earnings, such as Nvidia. Why would I buy Nvidia at 1K prior to their earnings? So you got to think like institutions. I tell you guys this all the time. You got to start trying to think like institutions. Will you be like perfect at thinking like them? No, because you're not billionaire. I'm not a billionaire. But ideally, that's the way you want to think, right? Because it helps you understand how the market moves or helps you have a better perspective on how things move in the market. So again, all this noise and all this news prior to earnings or prior to big tech earnings, it's just noise, in my opinion. I think this is all set up for us to drop everything prior to big tech earnings, and then we start to see what we saw at last earnings, where everything starts to rally once again. Okay, and I could be wrong, but that's what I'm expecting. That's what I think is happening right now. All right, but as far as key levels here, again, you want to break back above 429. I would say 430 just to be safe, and then 433. Okay, you want to break back above 433. You just want to get back to where these guys are in this area. I imagine we're going to need really good news. Maybe unemployment claims is that news where we break above these guys, they panic, and then we get back to 436. Highest we can go is maybe 440 at the top of this supply and demand zone. As far as downside goes, again, 425, you break below 425 and hold, you're looking at a move as low as 422. All right. So be on the lookout for those moves as far as the triple Qs. Again, we zoom out. There's a lot of potential for a bounce from here, guys. A lot of potential. So we'll see how that plays out heading into tomorrow. NVIDIA. So I told you guys in the last video that I think Nvidia is going to go as low as 823. Now, mind you, TSM earnings is tomorrow, so I don't know how that would affect Nvidia, but I think it will set the tone for semiconductors and how they move in the future. So we'll have to see. I don't follow TSM that much, so I'm not gonna act like I know all about it. But and I don't. I'm not gonna act like I know the correlation between TSM and all the semiconductors. But I imagine it's going to start setting tones. All right. So as far as Nvidia goes, my price target still remains the same. I still think we're going to head towards 823. I keep telling you guys that I do have another target of 740. We'll talk about that till we when we get to 823. But right now, after 823, I think you're just going to head as low as 800. And the reason why I think that is because we're very illiquid right here. Okay, after 823, we break below this gap. We're very illiquid in this supply and demand zone. Sellers are here. They're probably gone by now, but as you guys can see, wicks, there are bearish wicks here. So we can easily just head straight to 800 on NVIDIA. But as of now, we're just going to focus on 823. And once we get there, we'll talk about the next potential target. Right now, we need to get below 840. After that, you want to get below 830. As you guys can see, there are buyers here in this area here. So hopefully you guys can see that. So there's buyers here. Again, wicks tell you where sellers and buyers are. So there's a lot of buyers here. We need to get below these guys at 830, at around 830, 829, and then we head towards that 823 target. But for now, 840 is acting as support. So we'll see what happens from there. We break below 840, then we'll go further down on NVIDIA. As far as upside goes, you wanted to see a hold back above 875. We tried, it was looking really good, and then we just rejected and gave all that back. So yeah, 875 would be my target. Well, not my target, but well, I guess my target for upside, more upside on Nvidia. After 875, you can look at a move like this where you break above 875, then you're heading towards 887, 888 range, and then you hit the top of this well, not the top, but the bottom of the supply and demand zone at around 895. All right. But in order for me to be really bullish on Nvidia, I say this like almost every video, guys. 924. Until we get above 924, there's really not much to talk about here. I think Nvidia is just going to continue to head lower, but we'll have to see what TSM earnings brings to the table. AMD. So congratulations if you took this trade in the Discord. I put this out today. Feel free to take profit. Yeah, we took profit on AMD, or I told the Discord to take profit, or if they have the option to take profit, and it's up to you if you did. But yeah, so we got an AMD 155 push for April 26. We got in at around 157. I was waiting for that 159 break, so I was a little late to the party, but it still played out. AMD dropped all the way to 154, and then I alerted everyone to start taking profit, especially if you have a small account to take profit prior to close. And then I let everybody know that my potential target is as low as 140. All right. So 140 is my target on AMD. Well, 152 is my first target. So I put it here, take profit at 40% or a price target of 152. And then I let everybody know, hey, you can take profit, but I have a target as low as 140. So it's really up to you at this point. So congratulations if you took that trade. But as far as AMD goes, AMD is just destroying everything right now as far as downside. TSM could absolutely bring this thing back up, but I'm still going to remain bearish on it, especially if it stays below 159 and 164. So 159, 164, as you guys can see, we're breaking below the supply and demand zone here. And again, I think AMD is going to head as low as 140. I wouldn't say this week, maybe by next week, or maybe TSM earnings contributes to this drop. But yeah, that's what I'm expecting on AMD. There's also a gap here at around 148, 147 range. So be on the lookout for that. We have a bearish engulfing candle breaking through these supply and demand zones. So yeah, pretty bearish on AMD. Okay, I'm still holding my 155 puts, and that's it. So as far as upside goes, 159, you want to break above 159. After that, you're looking at about 164, 165. You can say 165 as a psych level to be safe. And then, yeah, in order for me to be really bullish on AMD, I want to see us break back above the supply and demand zone at around 178. You can say 180 to be safe. Tesla. We're in Tesla 155 puts. Well, not 150. Wait, what are we in? We are in Tesla 149 puts. Okay, I was thinking AMD. So we're in Tesla 149 puts, and then I added some more contracts to Tesla because it did go up from like our entry. We got in at like 155, then it started to go all the way to like 157, and yeah, we added more contracts at around 157, and then oh yeah, so and then I did 155 puts for April 26, which is next week at around 157 as well. So looking really good on Tesla. It is dropping as of now. So really, really liking Tesla for more downside. I have a price target on Tesla as low as 145. Okay, 145 is my price target for Tesla. I'm sorry if you're a Tesla holder, shareholder, but this thing, I don't think anyone is expecting Tesla to have good earnings. Simple as that. I just don't think anyone is expecting that. And that's why I think Tesla is, or part of the reason why I think Tesla is dropping as well. Okay. Yeah, that's all I have as far as Tesla. As far as upside goes, I mean, you want to see Tesla again. I mean, 185. Until it gets above 185, there's not much to talk about here. Okay, 185 is when I'm like really, I wouldn't say really bullish, but somewhat bullish on Tesla. 185, 187 range is what you want to look at. We get back above the supply and demand zone here, then we'll talk about some more upside on Tesla. There is a gap here, so eventually I do expect Tesla to retest about 160, 162. But yeah, I just don't see it. I really don't see it, and I think the expectations for earnings is very low. So this drop isn't surprising as far as Tesla goes, guys. Okay, so that's really all. Well, we can go over Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is really fighting for the 60K level. If you want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator on how the market is going to move, then by all means, that's completely fine. I do understand that sentiment. So, yeah, Bitcoin, if it drops below 60K, it's heading towards 57.5K. I have a price target on Bitcoin to 52K. So be on the lookout for that target. But yeah, I'm just not bullish on this thing. I mean, the halving is coming up, guys. Like, why are we listening to people tell us to buy the dip prior to halving, prior to the halving? That makes no sense. I mean, look at this. It broke below this. It's breaking below a supply and demand zone. I mean, there's nothing bullish about this right now. Now, long term, absolutely, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. But short term, prior to the halving, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay, this thing, I think it's going to plummet even further down, and we'll see. My price target right now is about 52K, 50K, which is about right around down here, all the way to this next supply and demand zone. And be on the lookout for my crypto videos sometime after the halving. Probably start them in around May on my crypto investments and what I plan on investing. Or you can just join the Discord. Link is in the description below. We do crypto, we do Forex, we do stocks. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for Bitcoin. Until Bitcoin gets back above 75K, 74K, 75K range, there's not much to talk about here as far as upside. All right. Um, IWM. So this is another thing that I want to bring to you guys' attention. While everything else was going up, IWM was dropping, which is the Russell, right? And you have these traders telling you, oh, buy the dip, buy the dip. Not on IWM, but just on the overall market, right? Buy the dip. But you have Dow Jones, you have the Russell, they're dropping while tech is going up. One thing I want you guys to understand about ETFs and the futures, they don't leave each other for a very long time. They don't. Okay. Unless it's like a complete sector rotation, which you would know is happening prior to it happening, or not prior, but sometime while it's happening. Futures like Dow Jones, NASDAQ, Russell, they don't leave each other for a very long time. At some point, they catch up with each other. For example, if the Dow Jones is dropping and NASDAQ is going up, one will eventually catch up with the other. Okay. Either the Dow Jones is going to catch up with the Nasdaq to the upside, or the Nasdaq is going to catch up with the Dow Jones to the downside. But here, for like the past week or two, you have the Russell dropping to every bit of bad news we get, and then you have Dow Jones dropping while Nasdaq is going up. I mean, let's do the math here. You got two futures and two ETFs going down while one is going up. Which one is going to win the battle here? So it's very interesting that no one is picking up on these things, or at least most traders aren't picking up on these things. Where it's like, oh man, the IWM is dropping. This can show signs or warning that the market may drop soon. Oh, Bitcoin, if you want to use that as a leading indicator, Bitcoin is dropping. Oh, this could be a sign that the market is going to drop soon. I mean, come on. Like, you're getting all the perfect warnings. IWM is a perfect warning. I think IWM is going to head towards 185. That's my price target for IWM. I would like to see a retest of 204, but it's looking like that's not going to happen. So it is what it is. I missed out on this move. But again, like, you get all your warnings and no one pays attention to them. Dow Jones was dropping, IWM was dropping, Nasdaq was staying stagnant or at least going up. majority of the time while these things are dropping. So again, they don't leave each other for a very long time. Eventually, one catches up with the other. If the IWM is dropping and the NASDAQ and Dow Jones is going up, eventually the IWM will make a decision to go back up with them or vice versa. Okay. So that's just something interesting to keep in mind. I want to go over that in this video. Okay. I remember someone was arguing with me, like, no, they don't follow each other and blah, blah, blah. Like, or like, not that they follow each other, but they follow each other down to a T. Like, they follow, like, all of them move exactly together. No, that's not the case. They don't have to move together, but when one leaves the other, eventually they catch up. Okay, so that's my little rant on that. 185 is my price target for this. Simple as that. If you look at unusual wells as well, unusual wells as well. That's funny, but you type in IWM. I mean, look at this. It is bloody puts all across the board. Okay, nothing but puts here. You got 205 puts, 186 puts for May, 184 puts for May. I mean, yeah. So IWM just doesn't look good. Okay. Now we could get a retest to the upside if that bounce does happen that I was talking about. Maybe we go as high as about 204, 203 range, and then we see more downside. But until then, this thing isn't dropping. I mean, it just broke below another supply and demand zone. I mean, what more do you want here? So, yeah. VIX, price target on the VIX is 22. I think it's going to head towards 22. When that happens, I don't know. It's the VIX. VIX does whatever it wants. It takes its time getting to these price targets. But 22, 25, the highest I am looking at as far as the VIX. Nothing much more to go over here. But that's really all I have, guys. Hopefully, you guys got something out this video. I mean, hopefully, you're starting to take me serious with these price targets because I'm calling them out. I'm giving out cheat codes. I'm telling you how I get these price targets. And yeah, I still I'm still not getting the love that I think this channel deserves because I don't make these things up. I really try to educate here, and I do appreciate those who do support me. I really do. But I see a lot of these channels that tell you guys to buy the dip when a clear drop is going to happen or continue to buy, or we're still in a bull trend, the market is safe until higher lower lows are broken. Don't care, the market is still bullish and all that other stuff. These things are seen a mile away. Okay, I was calling this reversal like last week, that this drop was going to happen, maybe before that. Check my other videos. And it's not me being a perma bear. That's me following my supply and demand zone strategy, which again, institutions trade order blocks and supply and demand zones. They don't trade support and resistance. So yeah, hopefully one day you guys take me serious. Q's 422 price target, SPY 495 price target, NVIDIA 823, AMD 152, lowest 140, NVIDIA, I mean not NVIDIA, Tesla 145. Yeah, 145 is my price target. I mean, be on the lookout for it. Okay, be on the lookout for it. And even if those and even Nasdaq, I told you guys, my price target on the Nasdaq is 17,300, 17,400. Look what's happening. Set this in like the last two videos. So I don't make these things up. When I was bullish on the Nasdaq and it was in like low 17K, I was literally saying in my bullish videos, price target 18K, 18,500, and those targets hit. So I don't make these targets up. That's all I got for you guys. Discord link is in the description below. Again, thank you for those who do support the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, traders.